I think she's going to talk a little bit.
Do you think she has something to read or something?
Good evening and welcome to this evening's school board meeting of the Fairmont Area School Board. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. President, show up.
See for the bill.
Please give a roll call.
Okay. Roll call is everyone present except Dal Ellis.
That's correct.
Okay. And minutes of last time.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the April 11th meeting as offered.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And the agenda, any corrections, additions?
Mr. President, we're going to add Roman numeral 5C, state speech award winners.
Okay.
They should be showing up here sometime in a few minutes, and we can recognize them when they show up.
Okay, very good.
And under board committee reports, Operations Committee meeting was postponed until April 27th.
Okay.
Okay, then I would make a motion then to approve the agenda with those corrections.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. Okay, so we begin with celebration of our 25-year veterans. And I'll go down here.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
Some of them are here, and some of them may not be here, but I think three or four of them are here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, so first we have Jane Gustafson.
Not here.
No, not here. How about Terry Lavin? Okay, so let me say a few words about Terry. She's worked in the district for 25 years at the elementary schools. She worked at William Budd until it closed and currently serves as a K-2 administrative assistant at Fairmont Elementary. Terry has 3 children, 1 daughter and 2 sons. She has 9 grandchildren, 1 great-grandson, and a great-granddaughter on the way in June. She enjoys boating, walking, attending her grandchildren's sporting events. Full life. Would you like to share anything? Okay, so well, you stay right there. Okay. And Heidi Lumen. Okay, Heidi. Heidi has served as a 3rd and 4th grade looping teacher for the entire 25 years. She started out teaching at Lincoln School and was transitioned with 3rd and 4th graders from Lincoln to Fairmont Elementary. Over the years, she has served as a PLC and grade level leader and has been a member of the SDCC team. Heidi and her husband Lon have been married for 25 years. They have 3 children, 2 daughters and a son, 2 granddaughters, ages 13 and 4. Heidi enjoys gardening, golfing, motorcycling, time with family, and attending granddaughter's activities. Any memories of the past?
There's a lot.
Anything you'd like to share? No pressure.
No.
Okay, so Michelle, is she? Oh, yeah, Michelle. Michelle Rosen has held a wide variety of positions with our district, including teaching 2nd grade, kindergarten, 5th grade, 6th grade math and social studies, and math intervention. Michelle was the last principal at William Budd, moved to assistant principal at Fairmont Elementary, and is now serving as the pre-K-2 principal at Fairmont Elementary. Her many accomplishments in the past 25 years include being a MEEP and site leader, serving on SDCC, starting the elementary math intervention program, and providing administrative direction in the closure of Budd School and the building of Fairmont Elementary. These successes and many others earned Michelle the MSA or MESPA Assistant Principal of the Year Award in 2013-14. Michelle has been married to Mark Rosen for 20 years and she thanks Cheryl Hamp for introducing them. They have 2 children, a son and a daughter, and 1 granddaughter. During her quieter time in the summer, she loves to golf, boat, and go on Jeep rides with Mark. Any memories that you'd like to share? Please, come forward.
I've been excited for this day all day. I don't know. They are the quieter ones, but yeah. I just want to say thanks. I've loved my time in Fairmont. I'm always so proud to be a Fairmont employee. I think I've been very fortunate to have a lot of great opportunities, different opportunities. I love the opportunity I'm in right now, and I thank the school board for being such a supportive member to all of us, to teachers, to staff, to everybody. It's a wonderful place to work, and I am excited to be here, and I'm excited for my family and then also my family. I have to thank my husband. He's a huge supporter of mine. When I was a kindergarten teacher, he'd cut out those things for me on the couch, and now as an administrator, he just goes, "It'll be okay, sweetheart." So I just thank everyone for helping me on this journey, and I love it. So thanks.
Oh, thank you. Okay, Elizabeth Shimon has taught a wide range of grades during her 25-year tenure. She was first hired as a 5-7 grade general music instructor at the middle school. In 2005, she moved to William Budd School, where she taught K2 students. When Budd closed, Elizabeth moved to Fairmont Elementary and taught students in K6. Currently, she serves as a K2 music teacher. Elizabeth and her husband, Dave, have a son and a daughter, both at SDSU. Elizabeth's interests include cooking, baking, designing, sports, and travel. Any words?
Michelle did it.
Okay, so.
Before we go here and get a picture of Judy's gonna take
Okay. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you for your years of service.
Okay.
You have Teacher of the Year, too.
Oh, okay. So,
I'm sure Pam's gonna want to talk about that.
okay. Who's gonna? Okay, so we have one more celebration, Teacher of the Year, Pam Brolsma.
Hi. So do you want me to just start sharing some things?
Please.
I was emailed by Judy to that there were the few things that you were interested in sharing, but I'm going to give a shout out to my alma mater college. Michelle is a cobber. I am a cobber, and we have we got our speech coaches are cobbers. So if any of you are anticipating in the world of Fairmont where to go to school as a college, I am going to promote Concordia College in Moorhead, Minnesota. So. Okay, go Cobs. Who wants a cob? It's a corn cob. It seriously is. So that's what it is, and you just kind of get used to it. So I was first asked to share a little bit about the Teacher of the Year process. So I'm going to go over that first. In our district, you are nominated for Teacher of the Year by a colleague or colleagues. This year, I was nominated by our first grade PLC, which is our professional learning community, and that's made up of Katie Rodney, Missy Akis, Lori Scott, Chelsea Hayes, and Kristen Walters, and they're amazing teachers in and of themselves. All of the teachers that are nominated are then voted on by all of the teachers in the district, and that is like almost an impossible thing to do because everybody that's nominated and even those that aren't are just wonderful people, and our staff, you're blessed with very talented teachers. So I just feel that I'm simply a representative of that talent for this year. After receiving the honor, I then submitted a portfolio to the Minnesota Teacher of the Year program. The portfolio had to include my philosophy of teaching, what I see as educational issues for the teaching profession, a description of my personal teaching style, my professional and community experiences, and then references from a colleague, parent, former student, administrator, and a community leader. So there were 137 submissions this year, and a group of people from education, business, civic organizations, and other fields narrowed that down to 37 semifinalists, and I was honored to be one. So then as a semifinalist, I had to expand in video format on what I saw as educational issues for the teaching profession. In my platform, I focused on the dramatic changes that I've seen in the socioeconomic diversity and family challenges that our communities have and that are presenting obstacles to our early learners' social, emotional, and cognitive health. I believe that schools statewide should be partnering with public and private stakeholders in their communities to ensure that all parents are providing an optimum healthy start for their child. We've had a lot of advancements in the field of neuroscience over the last 10 years, and it's made it very clear that critical brain development is occurring in the first 3 years of a child's life, even focusing closer now on the first 120 days of a child's life. And that healthy wiring of the brain, it's essential for future learning. So research supports that would help close the achievement gap and would save money, so I think that would be an awesome thing. I also felt it was important for schools to have effective curriculum in place that helps children deepen their understanding of their own mindset and mental processes, specifically how their brain works. Mindful teaching, learning, along with trauma-informed educational practices, helps to develop more resilient learners who understand the power they have in their own learning. So I have always felt strongly that schools should not only be conveyors of knowledge, but also need to be purposeful, planned, and persistent in teaching positive habits of thinking, learning, and communicating, which is our top 20 curriculum. And that needs to start with our earliest learners and go all the way through to graduation. So that was a brief summary of my platform. So then that was reviewed and your portfolio by this team of people, and that was narrowed down to 11 finalists, and they will be interviewed, and then one will be selected as the Teacher of the Year for the state of Minnesota on May 7th at a banquet on Sunday, which I was not did not make that list, but I will be there to cheer on whoever is selected as the Teacher of the Year. So that is a brief summary of the Teacher of the Year process. Wow. And so, I have more. I just didn't know if you were going to interact or not. So you want to? Sure. Well, because I was also asked then to share, why I got into teaching.
I'd like to hear that.
Would you? Okay.
I was going to sit down.
Okay. Well, I have no big, when you're trying to decide what you want to be when you grow up, honestly, and I know it's going to sound sappy, but I just wanted to make a positive difference in the lives of others. And I nailed that, as you all know, with the teaching profession. A little boy in my classroom asked me the other day, how many people have you taught? Because a lot of people are walking in my room and it's like, oh yeah, I was their teacher, and they're old, because I've been teaching 36 years, 26 of those years have been in Fairmont, but I've been teaching a long time. So he goes, and that includes me. How many have you taught, including me? So I got out my calculator and I roughly estimated it's over 700 children. So that's a lot of lives and families that I've been a part of and blessed to be a part of over the last 36 years of my life. So I think I nailed that pretty well. And then I was asked to share memories, and often the memories you have are a little off color to share publicly. They're funny, they're innocent, but they're not always appropriate to share, but they're endless. But one that I love to share is, I start every day with these routines, and one of them is a question of the day. And around my birthday, I always ask the question is always, do you know which restaurant is Mrs. B's favorite? And mind you, I am wearing a bright red, beaded, shiny red lobster around my neck. And so the kids are over there and they have a little button, they move to yes or no, and I hear one of the little boys go, yes. And then he turns to his friend and he says, the girls. And I thought, wow, what restaurant is he thinking of? So I go over a little curious and I said, can you read the question to me? And he says, which restroom is Mrs. B's favorite? So, well, then the girls made perfect sense. So, so anyways, lots of fun stories like that all the time. So my life has been filled, and it is my favorite restroom. So, I, of course, then had to add on to our reading lesson that you don't only look at the beginning sound, but you have to read through the whole word, not from restaurant to restroom. So I just always love learning, and I'm daily inspired by the lessons learned in children's books. And I always say that to people, and then they, like, you know, well, yeah, that's a nice thing for a teacher to say, but if you have not, and we had a lot of grandparents here, so you're rereading those stories to your kids. If you haven't read children's books for a while, you have to read them as an adult. They have the best lessons in them, and I don't think we always get those lessons as a child unless someone's kind of explaining them to us. But so I love children's books. They're simply the best. And so do I have time to share a story with you?
Please, please.
Because I end the year always with this. This is what I read on the last day of school, and I have to tell you, I don't always get through it without crying. So I will get through it tonight without crying, but I don't always on the last day of school. I ended many of my years teaching with what I called a garden party. It was a celebration of all the growth that the kids had had throughout the year, and so it was a perfect theme. I should have written this book. It should have been mine. I should have been getting the royalties for this book. But Edith Patu wrote it, and it's called Mrs. Spitzer's Garden. Now, I use my teacher's license, which allows me to change words, much like a poetic license. So it's Mrs. Bralsma's garden. And I'm not going to share the pictures with you just to save a little time, but they're awesome. You'll have to visualize, okay? So Mrs. Bralsma is a teacher. Her friends all call her Mrs. B. She is in room 2003 of Fairmont Elementary School. At the end of summer, Mrs. Rosen, the principal, walks down the hall to Mrs. Bralsma's room and gives her a packet of seeds. Mrs. B consults her calendar and plans her daily schedule. And she checks her tools. She makes sure the soil is right, light and well drained with plenty of room for sprouting. Then Mrs. B plants the seeds. She waters them, feeds them, and makes sure they get plenty of sun. The seeds begin to sprout. As the plants grow, Mrs. B watches them closely. She checks daily for weeds and pests. At that point, we talk about invitations that we get to go below the line with our top 20 curriculum. She knows that different plants need different things and that each plant has its own shapes. And I will share this one picture because this is the variety we see in our classrooms. They're all different. But I would ask the kids, what do you see on all of their faces? And they would quickly note a smile. Smiles are big in our room. Some of the plants grow quickly, pushing upward, eager, impatient, and some grow more slowly, unfolding themselves bit by bit. Some plants sprout thin and tall, some are bushy and wide-spreading, some are bold, showy. They're brightly colored, saying, "Look at me." Some are silvery and quiet, the color of the earth. A few are like wildflowers and will grow anywhere you plant them. And some need gentle care, a special watching over. As the seasons change, Mrs. B tends her garden, and then the year is over, and her job is done. Thought I could do it. But the plants, they will keep growing, uncurling their stems, stretching their leaves outward, and showing their faces to the sun, of which we have 4 sitting in our audience today. I was hoping that Ben would be here because he was one of my seeds, Ben Herneth, but that have won state competition. And then they asked me if I wanted to go in before them or after them. And it was like, I think I'll go before them. I don't want to follow that act. Mrs. Bralsma puts away her tools, her daily calendar, and her plan book. Soon another year will start, and Mrs. Rosen will once again walk down the hall with a packet of seeds for Mrs. Bralsma. She will dust off her tools, till the soil, and a new garden will begin. And that, for my students that are watching, if any of them are, that's the life cycle, that's our word for the week, of a teacher. So thank you for just being a wonderful district to work for, because a lot of those things in my platform, we offer that in Fairmont. We have curriculum in place for all of that, and our community works wonderfully together. So we're blessed in this community to have a great educational system and a great community. So thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Thank you.
Mrs. Rosen and I will be attending the banquet with you,
I heard that, I'm so excited.
the Teacher of the Year, so we're looking forward to that. I'm going to read the certificate that we have for Mrs. Brolsma. We congratulate and commend Pam Brolsma for being selected by your peers as Fairmont Area Schools 2016-2017 Teacher of the Year. and for your successful advancement as a semifinalist. Your exemplary dedication to teaching and to our young people is recognized and greatly appreciated. Congratulations. We're going to get a picture taken here.
Hey, Pam?
Just want to make sure this doesn't fall.
First one last night, 14-3.
Okay, Pam, before you go, quick question. Minnesota and probably most of the country has experienced a teacher shortage. So young people are choosing not to go into teaching. So can you pitch teaching for us? Can you share?
I hope I just did that a little.
Well,
You know, I will be honest, teaching, it takes a lot out of you. And as when I was young and a woman and you're choosing your job, we were just starting to have different career paths that were available to us. Before that, a lot of us, was a nurse or a teacher for a woman. And I started to go to school to be a lawyer because I was pushed by my high school teachers that's what they thought I would be good at because I like to talk. And so that's what you should do that. And it wasn't me. Teaching, I knew in my heart that I wanted to be a teacher. And I think that's what's sad is that so many of our careers were pushing people to do these great things that sound so wonderful and maybe will make a lot of money. But in the end of the day, happiness comes from your contentment with what you do, and you will never be more filled than being a teacher because it's just, first of all, your day goes really fast. I worked in a factory one time where you refolded the little things that went into the boxes that were misfolded by the machine, and I would show up at 11 o'clock at night. It was a college intern, they little fake job, well, not intern, but anyways, and you had to refold them, and you got there at 11, and by 11:02, you're looking at the clock going, do this all night long? Never. If anything, what do you always hear from teachers? There isn't enough time. Your day, your year, it feels like we just started. I look at these faces in the crowd and I feel like we were just 23 years old. And here we are. Some of them are still a lot younger than me, but it goes so fast. So it's an enjoyable thing. And when you get to work with people and kids and families, it's just a blessing. So you have to want that in life. And I think that more and more people are figuring that out. And so I hope that more and more will decide. But yeah, it's
Thank
a
you.
wonderful career.
That's great.
So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and we have, are we going to do this
Yes,
here?
yep.
Okay, one more celebration. We have had another successful speech season, and I'll ask Kathleen Perry and Eric Walker to come and share with us the highlights of that season.
So, I have my I just thought of this, it's not very creative, but Final Four, right?
Yeah.
The four amazing speech competitors that got to take home, through their hard work and dedication, state speech medals. But before I introduce them and let them tell you a little bit about what they do and why they love speech, and perhaps maybe just a favorite state speech memory, doesn't have to be this year, so start thinking. Our speech season goes January to April, and like Pam said, goes really fast. I feel like we just started. We had about 45 kids go out for the team this year, and of those 45, about 20 of them were new speechies, we call them. 7th, 8th, and all the way through 11th and 12th grade people trying out the activity for the first time. And so then go all the way to the end of March. We have subsections, had about 38 kids for that. We got second as a team at sweepstakes and took 26 of our kids to sections. They qualified in the top 6 of their category. And then go to sections at St. Peter April 7th, and we won the Section 2A speech tournament. And we also took 9 kids to state, and we had 18 section finalists. And now here are just some facts for you to think about. We sent 3 to state for the first time, 4 going for their last time, sent all of our veteran seniors Of those 4, 3 were captains of the team, and 6 students were 1 place away from going to state, and 4 of them were 8th graders. And so you can just imagine the kind of depth that we have and the excitement that me and Mr. Walker felt that we have a bright future still. And so we're really excited about that. And so I'll just say the names of the kids that qualified for state, and then I'll introduce the 4, and they can tell you a little bit about more what they did. So we took these seniors to state: Michaela Salter, Lauren Carlson, Tony Joseph, and Emily Haugen. We took these juniors, Emma Kaler and Ben Hernes, and freshmen, Izzy Munch, Apoorva Kamaragari, and Bergen Senf. And so in any order, people, come on up, and they're just going to tell you what event they did at state, a little brief description about what it is, how they placed, and perhaps a favorite speech or state memory that they had. And I'll turn the floor to them.
Hello. Sorry for what I'm wearing. I would have dressed nicer, but I just got done with track. So I'm Emma Kaler. As a lot of you already know, I've met with some of you before, and I have been in, my category is poetry, and I've actually been in speech and in poetry since 7th grade. So I've had quite a lot of experience with that and gotten to really develop my skills as a speaker. So poetry, it's not really what you would think, like Robert Frost or Shakespeare. I mean, you can, it's totally within the rules that you can, but I tend to go toward a lot more of the slam and more modern poetry. And then what I actually started doing this year was splicing it. So I take all of these poems and I take what I want and I create the story that I want to tell out of, I think I had like 10 poems or something like that. And I really, and like I said, I've been in speech since 7th grade, and I've done poetry. This year I added duo and poi to my list, so I've really enjoyed it, and it's one of probably my favorite activity that I'm in. And this year I got to take home 4th place in poetry in the state, and that was just an incredible experience. And I think my favorite part of state this year was definitely being with the team. I mean, what is more fun than that? But I remember we were all waiting for finals to be posted on the TVs, kind of like what we have at our school, and that was how we found out who made it into the final. And I was just going around and I was holding hands with everybody, and we were all just, praying for each other and thinking about each other and just really wanting the best for not only ourselves and our team, but also I know for myself, I can speak for myself and I'm sure all of them, that we also wanted what was best for our competitors. And because I've made so many friends from other schools throughout all of my years in speech, and I was just really, they need to make it into the final. Like, they were good too, and also my competitors and my team, and it's been a really great activity to learn not only how to, want what's best for yourself and your friends, but also for those around you. And it's just such an amazing environment to be a part of. And yeah. I'll quit talking.
Thank you.
So, hey everybody, my name is Tony Joseph. I'm a senior, and I think you guys saw me a little earlier with the AAA award, but I'm here to talk to you about speech. And so with that, I'm in a category known as original oratory. And if you've ever has anyone here been to a speech tournament? Like, just watched? Well, when you go there and you see the people talking to the walls, I'm the boring one. I'm not jumping around. I'm not giving you you're not stopping and looking at me. I'm the boring guy. But original oratory is essentially the art of persuasion. And so we try to persuade you to see things our way. Like, who doesn't, right? But with oratory, I've been doing it since 7th grade, and I really have fallen in love with it. There's a format to it. And you sit through the same thing and you see it so many different ways. And when you see a really good oratory, you go out of that round and you go, wow. Because there's really nothing better than a really good persuasive speech that convinces you with their logic and their emotions and their ethics, and you're like, that was mind-blowing. And this year when I got to state, I got to see a whole round full of them in the final rounds, and I ended up taking 7th place in original oratory. That was a great time. And state in general is just a great time because you make the entire speech season, you're making these bonds with your speech team. And then you get to state, and those bonds become 10 times, 100 times stronger because you're with people who have put in just as much time as you with as much love for the activity. And if I had to I don't think I could pinpoint a specific, I loved all of it from 7th grade till now. And I mean, I found myself tearing up a little bit afterwards. I'm not the guy who usually tears up, so I'll leave you with that.
Well, hello. I'm Michaela Solter. I know us speechies like to talk a lot, so I'll kind of try and keep it brief. But I do a category called storytelling, and it's a little different than all their categories. They stick with the same speech all year, and I guess I sort of do the same thing, but I actually have 15 speeches that I get to know. They give us 15 stories. They're new stories every year, and so I read the stories, and I think of the characters and the voices that I want to use for those characters, and I kind of get a little bit of creative license with it, and so basically what I do is I retell those stories in my own words. So 30 minutes before a round, I draw 3 stories out of the 15, and I pick one, and I get 30 minutes to prep, and then I give a speech. So it's really stressful, but I love it. I don't know why. I've been doing it since 7th grade as well. I just kind of got thrown into it and ended up never switching back. This was actually my 5th time at state, and so I don't think a lot of people can say that, and that was awesome. I got 5th this year in storytelling, and I just remember, like, after the final round, I was so happy because I had done my best, and I know that I had done my best, and there was nothing else that I could do at that point. Probably, I don't know, my favorite thing about speech is that it's a family. Like, I don't think I've ever been, oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever been on a team that I loved so much, and I did this after I was done too, but Lauren started crying first, so. But I think the skills and the things that I got out of speech are something I can't get anywhere else. So.
Hi guys, I'm Lauren. Okay, unlike the rest of them, I have done 6 categories in speech. You've done 3? Okay, well I've done 6. I started in 7th grade, I did poetry. In 8th grade and 9th grade, I did storytelling like Michaela. In 10th grade, I did original oratory. Junior year, I did original oratory and great speeches, and then this year I did informative and duo with Emma was my duo partner. So that was really fun. This year I found the category that I was best at, which is informative, and so that is what I took to state this year. I really loved my speech this year. It was on silence. It was really fun to write and interesting. And speech has been a great part of my high school career all through 7th grade. I spend a lot of time on speech all throughout my year. Instead of just like chilling at night, I spend like 3 hours a night writing my speeches and editing and re-editing and re-editing. And this year I got to make visuals, which for informative, it's kind of like Tony's. It's like pretty straightforward, not super funny. Calm, yeah, okay. So I just like inform you, and I have cool visuals that help go along with what I'm saying. And so it was really fun to be creative and make those this year. The state tournament was awesome. I took home 3rd place in informative this year. The tournament was awesome. I also went in 10th grade in original oratory, but this year was even better. We just had a great time with the whole team. I think my favorite speech memory in general is just warm-ups. We do like crazy, silly warm-ups. So that's always fun. My favorite memory at state, I guess, is it's like super stressful, and so you go into these really intense rounds, and you just do your best, and then you go out and everyone's like, how'd you do? How'd it go? And everyone's super encouraging, and it's really nice to see, and all of our family members come, and it was really fun. I'm really sad that this year was my last year's speech. It was like a great part of my high school. But yeah, that's the speech.
Do you want to present those?
Okay, before you sit down, I have certificates for all of you.
If we get a picture of those four, the two coaches.
Yeah.
In front of the pillar. Very nice.
Okay, very nice. Superintendent's report.
Thank you. Let me talk first of all about the student enrollment. At the elementary, right now, we're serving 872 students, and at the high school, 787. We still have 104 seniors that will be graduating here in a few weeks. And I actually have signed the diplomas already, but just a reminder to the two board members, the president and the clerk will have to sign those sometime in the next few weeks, and we'll get those to you.
Okay.
So we can get those signed. And Mrs. Niss, I think, has those now. Just looking ahead, though, the senior class that we have is a relatively small class of 104, but the incoming senior class next year will have 143. And then there's 142, 147. The eighth grade class that's going to ninth grade has 117. We call that the post 9/11 class. Nationwide, that was the one grade level that is a lot smaller than other grade levels throughout the country. A lot of people, I think, decided to maybe hold off for a year or so after 9/11, and then the enrollments pick up again. And so our enrollments are still pretty strong, and looking forward to finishing the year. If we look at our pink sheet of the calendar, we have a lot of things going on. First of all, tomorrow night, Southern Plains Education Cooperative is having a board work session. And Julie, is that for all board members or just the representatives of the board?
I thought it was just the representatives, but
And the superintendents, I think?
yes.
Okay.
But let me double check my email, but that's what I was thinking.
Okay, I plan to go.
I mean, I think anybody could go.
Okay.
Any of the board members want to go, but
I believe
because
that's
I received a mailing yesterday. Did anybody else receive a mailing yesterday?
No.
Yeah, so I'm
Okay.
going to guess that it was.
Okay, just
you know.
5:30. And then looking ahead, Thursday of this week at 4:30, there'll be a policy committee meeting. We'll be in the 700 series, plus we have a few other policies to go back into and look at again that we have looked at previously. Just a reminder that prom is this Saturday, so the weekend will be pretty busy for our students. On Tuesday, May 2nd, we have the second strategic planning meeting, and that will be held in the William Budd Room, and that will start at 6 o'clock. Looking down the road, Wednesday, May 10th, we have another school board high school breakfast at the high school commons, and that's at 7:30 for any board member that can make it. The community service day is now scheduled for Friday, May 12th, and there is a rain date for that in case it rains that day, but otherwise, May 12th is community service day. And if you can recall, Mrs. Engelby came last meeting and talked to us about that. That's a great day for our students to give back to the community by volunteering and doing some great projects. Then on Tuesday, May 2nd, will be,
It's a repeat.
that should be a different date, I think.
Yeah, it's, the next meeting is, let me look here.
Okay?
It's the 16th.
Okay.
It's
So-
a Tuesday, but it's May 16th.
Yep. Tuesday, May 16th, we'll have our third strategic planning meeting. That will also be held in the William Budd Room. Another policy committee meeting on Thursday, May 18th. And then Sunday, June 4th, will be commencement at the high school gymnasium at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So a busy few weeks coming up, but it should be a fun time.
The spec meeting, the Southern Plains, that meeting will be tomorrow in Winnebago. And I believe it is just for from what I can read in my notes, it is just for the board members. But if anybody's, wants to come along, it's a just building up of making us so we can work closer together and work more for a common goal. So it's,
Okay.
It's just kind of to get to know each other and strengthen us, so.
Great. Thank you, Julie.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Moving on to financial business, we first have donations. Dan?
Yes, in Appendix A, I'll introduce the following resolution and move for its adoption. Whereas Fairmont 3M donated $250 through its matching grant program, which supports employee volunteerism in our schools. So thank you to Doug Hoffman and Diane Hendricks for the time they volunteered at Fairmont Elementary, and be it resolved by the Fairmont Area School Board to gratefully accept this gift.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. This will be a roll call vote. Danielle?
Aye.
I vote aye.
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 Julie and Dan?
Aye.
5-0, okay.
Okay, and that's the only donation, correct?
That's just the only one for the staff.
Okay. And Julie, finances?
Financial, here we go. In your packet, you should have received the transfers and wires for April 6th to the 20th. There really isn't anything abnormal, anything I really want to point out to you there. That's fairly normal transfers that we have. So that's just for your information. And then we'll have the check registers for the bills that'll be paid the 4/25 or today. And just a couple I wanted to bring your attention to on check number 59680. That is to A+ Systems, and that's camera repair at the junior senior high school, and that's repair of the security cameras in the building. And then we had such a nice presentation tonight from the speech team. Check number 59698 is the Hilton Garden Inns where they happen to stay, and that was for their rooms that weekend. So, check number 59712 MSSWA, and I was just curious as to what that stood for. Does anybody know what that stands for? Okay, I'll let you give up, but it's the Minnesota School Social Workers Association, and that would be Amy Becker that attended, or that's her membership for that association. Check number 59721, Regents of the University of Minnesota, that's Exploradome. That was for the STEM fair, and for just to bring your attention to that one. And the last one is check number 59726, and that is to SHI International Corporation. Now, this is another one. We had a couple last time at our meeting we brought that I brought attention to. This is part of our technology plan for 17-18 school year. This was the purchase of 306 Chromebooks to use within our school building. So that was no software or no additional software. That is just Chromebooks. So, okay. Any other questions or anything you would maybe have on those bills? If not, then I would make a motion to approve the wire transfers for April 6, 2017 to April 20th, 2017, and payment of the April 25th, 2017 bills.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. No old business. So who's going to do?
Tracy Lardy.
Oh, okay. So the high school student handbook, Tracy Lardy will tell us something about that.
Thank you, Mr. Trado and he was going to cover me tonight so I could go to the track meet, but with the rain, you get me. So we met in March with our handbook committee, which this now is my second year of doing it. So we meet in March annually, and we invite school board, administration, teachers, parents, and students to be involved. And we go through our handbook to look through what changes need to be addressed and discussed. I always find the meetings very interesting and enlightening for me, being 2 years old here. learning a lot. So it's always a great conversation to see what, needs to be changed or ideas of how things can be worded differently or enhanced. This year, the handbook, from what I understand, went through a big change a few years ago. So there's really not a lot of big changes occurring to the handbook. And we feel this is also due to the fact that the administration is a little more constant there now, and those things are being a little more sustained at that area. There are a couple things I'm going to bring to your attention. One is student appeals process, and I'm going to be boring and just kind of read it word for word here. One thing that has been added is students may choose to appeal a decision made by administration in accordance with the student handbook. To appeal a decision, the student must meet with the principal and/or the assistant principal, citing the reasons for the appeal. A meeting will be set with the review panel made up of the principal, the assistant principal, a student support representative or representatives, and a teacher. So if they interpret the handbook a little different, the student, they want to ask the administration, how are you interpreting it? Then they can ask for this appeal process to go forward. Okay? Another thing that's going to be different for our students is we are no longer going to supply and provide planners. Some of the research we've done is that there's a huge number of students that aren't truly using them. And we also find that if they're able to pick out the planner they like, they may be more interested in using it. So we might see a lot of cats and dogs and all that type of stuff with the covering on the planners. So next year on our supply list for 2017, 2018, we are going to require the 7th and 8th graders to have a planner, and the parents and the family members can go pick what works best for them. The 9th through 12th grade, a planner is going to be optional because many of them are now using electronic ones right on their phone to keep, so we're getting more with the times of being able to, you can download a planner and be able to use what you want. Our 7th and 8th graders do still want to use the planner as they want to teach them and help them with organizational skills. So that's why they're going to be required. The one thing that we are going to do different starting next year is just enhance it, is we've had cardinal expectation posters up through our school districts back when I taught and Danielle was my student. That's a long time ago. And so we're going to enhance our posters. I'm going to step away here. And make them a little brighter, stand out. So we're ordering these. They're going to be all over the school like our old ones are. Our old ones are kind of white with black. So this is going to be a little bold and stick out a little bit more so the people can see them. So we had teacher input at our last faculty focus meeting, which was last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. And so if these haven't been done for a while, which they haven't, we want to make sure the expectations in the area down here that they still meet the need. Okay? So teachers looked at that, and we'll be addressing that. And manufacturing is going to be making the posters for us, and we'll have them up by next year. Any questions?
One question about the appeal process.
Yep.
So if a student would like to appeal a decision, they would meet with principal, assistant principal, a student representative, and who would that be?
The student support representative. Yeah. Way I read that, Dr. Rodriguez, is that could be Ms. Schwieger, Mr. Gertis, could be myself, could be Ms. Thompson, the student support, Nancy Backer could be.
Would the student choose who they would like to represent them?
Could be, because oftentimes if a student may be appealing, they may have a relationship with one of us in there, and we know them a little better, and then we can be there to help support that.
And then regarding the teacher as part of the process, would that be of the students choosing also?
I guess I can't answer that for sure. That's a good point.
Because the question may be, there's an issue with a teacher.
Yep.
And so it would be best to get an objective opinion from another faculty member.
Yep. Yep, I agree. And I think if a situation would come up, they would look at it to see who would be the best person to help be there.
Okay, very good.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions?
Is there an appeal process past the appeal process?
That's a great question. I'll have to seek that answer out and get back to you. I don't know, Joe, off the top of my head if there is or isn't.
Okay.
Well, how is that this policy is it different than the current policy?
There is no policy.
I don't know if that's been in there before. Danielle, do you remember that from the conversations? I don't either.
No.
No.
Okay,
I don't.
okay.
Good question. Sorry, I don't have all the answers for that.
We have,
Okay.
we have an expert in the audience who's shaking her head. And she's, there is no appeal process.
Okay,
Perfect. All right.
And Danielle served on that committee.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, very good.
Yeah, Danielle was said in the group, so.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you for your time.
So we need a motion.
Okay, and I need a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2017-2018 high school student handbook.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, school board meeting summer schedule, Dan.
It's been past practice of the board to have only one regular school board meeting during the summer months of June and July. The proposed schedule for summer of 2017 would be to have our regular meeting on the second Tuesday of June, to not have our meeting on the fourth Tuesday of June, the 27th, to have our meeting on July 11th, and to cancel the meeting of July 25th. The August meetings would be on the regular second and fourth Tuesdays of the month. So I would make a motion to approve the summer school board meeting schedule as offered in Appendix C.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Discussion on that item. For our just general knowledge, we traditionally have superintendent evaluations on that, one of those, like either the 13th or July 11th. So maybe if we want to be thinking about that we could do that evaluation at the same time. Otherwise, I don't know, how, I know everybody else's summer schedules are busy in that too. But if we could do that on one of those nights and then save another, save those nights as not having meetings then, so.
That's a good idea.
Yep. Good.
Okay, next is personnel, employment.
I can present on that
Okay.
if you want me to.
Okay, Julie?
Okay, employment, Jim Davison is recommending that Peyton Crosby be hired as a fifth grade teacher for the 17-18 school year. Peyton will graduate this May with a BA degree in elementary education from Buena Vista University. He student taught kindergarten at Fairmont Elementary and fifth grade at Riverside Elementary in Jackson. So I would make a motion to approve the employment of Peyton Crosby as an elementary education teacher for the 17-18 school year effective June 30th, 2017 at a salary of BA Step 1.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next.
Okay, the next one, Michelle Rosen is recommending that Sierra Brandt be hired as a kindergarten teacher for the 17-18 school year. Sierra will be graduating in May from the University of Northern Iowa with a BA degree in elementary education and early childhood education. Sierra completed her student teaching with pre-K students in the Discovery Place program at Fairmont Elementary and also student taught at Blue Earth Elementary, working with special education and second grade students. So I would make a motion then to approve the employment of Sierra Brandt as an elementary education teacher for the 17-18 school year, effective June 30th, 2017, at a salary of BA Step 1.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
And then our last hiring for now is Jim Davison is recommending that Kevin Christensen be hired as a fifth grade teacher for the 17-18 school year. Kevin holds an elementary education degree from Moorhead State University, and he has taught fifth and sixth grade at Grenada Huntley East Chain since 1984. So I would make a motion to approve the employment of Kevin Christensen as an elementary education teacher for the 17-18 school year, effective June 30th, 2017, at a salary of BA 9, Step 17.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have board committee reports. CER Advisory Council, Danielle?
Yeah, we met on April 13th and kind of went over There's been a lot going on at CER. They had Family Fun Fair, the STEM Expo, both big events, well attended. They also had the Area Career Exploration, or the ACE Fair, for 10th grade students. It's got different vendors. I think there was over 100, if I remember right. Different businesses and career options where the kids can go around and engage and learn about options for their future. They found out they have been approved for the Playground and Park program again this year, which runs June 5th through August 10th. From 1 to 3 on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays for grades 1 through 6. They had a good turnout of that last year, so they got funding for that again. They got a lot of stuff coming up. Ronnie sent me lots of different things, some photography classes, gardening, track camps, softball, t-ball. All the summer adult co-ed leagues are getting going and forming, so lots coming up. The catalog just came out a couple weeks ago.
And
yeah,
it's full. Lots of
it's very
stuff.
full. Yep.
Lots of stuff.
So lots of different things, adults and youth, to look for and do.
Okay, thank you, Danielle. And I'll discuss our strategic planning meeting, which took place last Thursday.
20th, yeah.
Yep, on the 20th. Attended by administration, teachers, parents. Unfortunately, we didn't have any students, but we're going to work on that. We definitely need the student input. It was basically a launch of the process, providing a lot of information, background information about the health of the district, sharing some information about recent survey of recent graduates. And then we broke into small groups to start some brainstorming regarding a few different topics, marketing, student support,
Financial. I was on workforce.
and then
What else? There was a couple others.
21st century education, what that will look like. It's an exciting process. A few people that attended had to leave early. If there's anybody in the community that still has an interest, please contact Judy at the district office, and we'll just repeat those dates again. It is next Tuesday.
Tuesday, May 2nd.
Yeah, Tuesday, May 2nd,
And
6 to 8 p.m. at the elementary at the Bud Room, and then the
16th.
Tuesday, May 16th.
And Tuesday, May 16th, same time, same place, unless it switched. The location was switched last time because the elementary was hopping that night. There was things going on everywhere.
It was busy. We walked in, there was like, wow.
Yeah, you had 6 choices.
Okay, so it was a great start, a lot of work yet to do. This will be an important first step in creating a dialogue involving all the stakeholders in the district, teachers, administration, parents, community, and very importantly, students, and trying to chart a path for what the district will look like in the future. And so we're very excited about what we will learn from this process. Anything else to add? Anybody that attended?
No.
So again, next Tuesday, the 2nd, 6 to 8 p.m., elementary school at the Bud Room. And if it's moved, there will be. I was lost when I got there because it wasn't where it was supposed to be. But someone grabbed me, and there was a sign.
I got an email, or I knew from somehow. I don't remember, but I knew it was changed.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was.
It will be in the Bud Room.
It'll be in the Bud Room? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
All the rest are.
Okay, so that
Judy has
is-
spoken.
So that is the end of the agenda. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
A second.
Second.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the meeting is adjourned.
I think it's 6 o'clock. Thank you. Thanks,
Okay.
Mark. Nice job.